Now that we're recording, welcome to the latest edition of the CyberEd webinar. My name is Kevin Knowlton with the Director of Academic Outreach for NYSERC, and I have all my friends all in one place. I only have 8 friends, so they're all here in one place that we're going to talk about some really fun things that are being offered by 2 incredible organizations. So what I'd like to do is first just introduce one of my friends, Dan Myers, who is the Global Manager for the Palo Alto Networks Cybersecurity Academy. And Dan and I are going to walk through a little brief overview of who is NYSERC and who is Palo Alto. There's some of you probably on the webinar here that are thinking, all right, who in the world are these 2 organizations? And so real quickly, I'll tell you that NYSERC is an organization that's federally funded through a grant through the Department of Homeland Security, specifically the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA. And the goal of CISA and through the grant that we receive is to expand the cyber workforce. And so we have to ask ourselves, how do we do that? Well, we start at K-12, and what we focus on is providing curricular resources to teachers. But in this new age, this new time within this global pandemic that's going on in our world, what we have to do is we have to focus now on providing parents resources that can introduce their students to the world of cybersecurity, because ultimately we want our students to have a knowledge of how to live, work, and play all in cyberspace. So NYSERC has a network that spans across the country, and what we're hoping to do during this webinar is to showcase some of the things that we're pulling from behind the firewall, things that are have traditionally been available to only teachers, and we're showing them what parents can use. We're showing our audience and our folks who are dialed into this webinar what it is that they can use for teaching cybersecurity. So that's NYSERC, but this webinar is also presented also with Palo Alto Networks. And so, Dan, do you want to take a minute or 2 and talk about what you guys are doing from the Cybersecurity Academy, and what do we have to look forward to during this webinar?
Sure, Kevin, thank you, and welcome everybody from across the country. And we certainly hope all is well with you and your families. My name is Dan Myers. Kevin introduced me as the Global Manager of the Palo Alto Networks Cybersecurity Academy. I'm based out of Denver, Colorado, and I work for the world's largest cybersecurity company, Palo Alto Networks. And what Kevin and I and the rest of the folks that you're seeing here on the videos are excited to do is to present you again with the kind of resources that you could use yourself, or you could turn over to your students and introduce them to them so that they can learn more about cybersecurity, careers in cybersecurity and whatnot. And it's really, this is a philanthropic approach here. It's really, you guys as well as us are all stuck in our homes, and what do we have that you can use to educate yourself and your students. And so we're really excited to present what we have. Going back to the Palo Alto Networks Cybersecurity Academy, what we do is we offer free content, free faculty training, and free technology to accredited academic institutions, whether it be the high school level or the higher education level, to allow those institutions to use those materials in any way, shape, or form they want to use to help build cybersecurity knowledge and skills for their students. And why Kevin and I are together on this is there's initiatives going all over the country at the statewide level, not just individual academic institutions, but the statewide level. And the Palo Alto Networks Cybersecurity Academy really focuses on about the 10th grade on up into graduate level. Kevin and the NYSERC organization focuses at K-12, so a little bit of overlap there. But we go into school districts or statewide initiatives, and we talk about a complete K through 20 education solution consisting of many of the free resources and the programs that we offer to anybody that's interested in taking a look at them and incorporating them into their program. So that's a little bit about myself and the Palo Alto Networks Cybersecurity Academy and our relationship with NYSERC.
Fantastic, Dan. Well, it really is a great partnership, and what we've been able to do in a lot of states around the country is now being provided to you. I mean, many of you are parents who are sitting at home going, oh my gosh, I have these new coworkers running around my house that I need to occupy, or I need to have perform activities and projects, whether that's virtual online or whether that's, just you have building something. And so what you're going to see here in the next 40 minutes or so is a whole smorgasbord of projects, and projects that use paper and a paper clip or a brad, or all the way through to getting online and going through into different virtual environments. And so what we're going to be pulling from both the NYSERC materials and the Palo Alto materials is from our library. We're pulling things out of the vault, again, that have traditionally been available for educators. We're pulling all of that out and providing these resources to you. So Dan, and I know with Tom Trevathan, who's their Director of Curriculum for Palo Alto, along with Dr. Chuck Gardner, Heather Howe, Lori Salvell, Tommy Gober, and the NYSERC team. I mean, these are subject matter experts who are making sure that you, parents and students and teachers, have resources to do at home. So without further ado, I want to be talking here all the time. I want you to know that please ask questions. We've got 21 attendees who are on the web. We have Claire Floyd from the NYSERC team, who's our Director of Marketing, who's going to be monitoring the chat. So if you have a question, if you want to ask one of these subject matter experts a question about the project that you're about to see, please feel free to tie it into the chat. And there's a small enough group here that if you raise your hand, we'll flip on the switch and let you talk and chime in and have a discussion. So please feel free to interact. And while I go to the next section, I'd love for you to jump in the chat and say, where are you from? Put a city, state in there, just so we can give some shout outs to where we've got folks lining up. First out of the gate is Jackie from Greenville, Illinois. Fantastic. So you guys continue to jump in on the chat, be interactive, raise your hands if you want to ask a question for the group. So Omaha, Nebraska. I wish the College World Series was going to go on. Yeah, that'd have been fun. But I know y'all are hurting just as much as we are. Anywho, all right, I won't get too distracted with that. Let's get into the meat of the webinar here, and let's show where you can find some of these activities. So does everybody, my panelists, we see a Google screen right now? Is that what you see on your screen? A thumbs up from everybody? All right. Like everybody, I think we're learning how to do these virtual environments. So hopefully I'm not speaking into the wrong camera or anything. So to get to these activities, NYSERC.org, NICERC.org, and that's going to take you to the home page. And there's a banner right there. It hits you right at the above the fold, and you click View Activities. And so this is where the library of resources consists of. And we've got it broken down by different categories. We have all grade levels, and you have the different activities. You got elementary, middle school, high school, and then Palo Alto Networks content. And as you're going through these different sections, there's a little plus sign out here on the side. And you click that, and there's a little description of the content right here. And here's the link how to get to it. And Cyber Aces is actually one of the first couple activities we're going to showcase. So I won't steal Dan's thunder. And it also has the supplies that you need. What kind of supplies that are needed? So the internet, it's as simple as that, having that. But let's say you wanted to go to do an explore egg drop module. Here are the vessels or the supplies to build your egg drop vessel. Note that we're not asking you to use toilet paper because we know, that everybody needs toilet paper right now. So supplies are right there, the different sheets and the different lengths. And what makes these great home activities is the fact that they're all self-paced. They're all able to, They're all able to be used at the home. There's different things that you have around the house that you can be able to use. So that's NYSERC at home. Those are the different types of things. And these are all typically hour-long activities. Some may take a little longer, some may take, a couple hours, but they're designed to be little snack-sized snippets that you can use. And again, they're doable in just a short amount of time. So without further ado, I am going to turn it over to my friend in Benton, Louisiana, Lori Salvell. She's going to talk about our first activity, which I believe is going to be an activity on habitats. Is that right, Lori?
Yes, it is. So I'm stuck at home right now with some new coworkers, a pre-K and a 6th grader and a 2nd grader. And so I have my 3 kids with me at home. And this is a fun activity they really loved last week, just to give them something kind of different, kind of new to do. So I'm going to share that with you right now. Let's see.
There we go.
Yes. And so STEAM Fundamentals, we have our habitat lesson. And what's neat about this is it kind of takes it into perspective that our habitats have gotten so much smaller right now. We're at home, we're trying to bunker down. And while we do that, what do other animal habitats look like? And what kind of is going on there? And so kind of give our kids a different perspective to look at that from. We always start out with phenomenon with science, right? And so we're encouraging our kids to wonder what is going on. This picture right here, we see an animal, but we see a very odd background. So he's in a field, but I see a city skyline. And so we can wonder about that. And not only does this animal, so what do different habitats look like for different animals? And what's going on there? And how does that change over time? This is a sample of just 2 of the animals that we pull from the unit. There is about 14-ish animals throughout that kids can kind of explore, find ones they're excited about, jump around as they would like. As you can see, this is kind of some helpful links they can click on to learn more with little summaries and just kind of pictures. Every now and then there's some questions that they're encouraged to answer about that. We do have a parent-teacher guide available with some suggested answers. And there's also, of course, the student version where they can fill things out and kind of make it their own. We always want our kids cyber aware. So when we're talking about habitats, we're having them kind of look at this from a different perspective. So we can kind of look at this online habitats that we have now, right? So there's these different websites we can look at. And for a business, their online website kind of can look different, how that becomes their new habitat now. And so we're encouraging kids to look at maybe some places they can't go right now, but we can go to those places online and look at these places online, atmospheres, and kind of see some fun stuff we can do that we love to do at the place. Maybe it's a zoo or maybe it's a whatever, but we can still kind of peek in and see these places now from our homes. And at the end of this unit, it has kids designing their own habitat. So this is my coworkers' habitats. As you can see there, everything from, like I said, our middle schooler to our pre-K student to our 2nd grader, and they can choose whatever animals they would like. We do provide some cute little images that my kids loved to make them kind of 3D and kind of stand out. But it's just taking a plain sheet of white copy paper and it shows you how to fold it, and they can design their own habitats. So make it a little bit more interactive and hopefully fun for your students. So that's a little
Lori, and
brief clip of our elementary stuff.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, what kind of grade level do you recommend? Is that any elementary level, or is that Is there a specific grade that you recommend?
So we really designed it just for any elementary school child. Like I said, I at home have a 5-year-old who loved it. Of course, he can't read it by himself though, so we kind of dived into it together as a family, all the way up to even my middle schooler really had a lot more fun than I thought, making his own habitat.
Nice. Nice. Well, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, and that curriculum is ripped from the headlines, kind of from the STEAM fundamentals content, and that's a content that you guys are developing currently, and that's going to be launched in full this summer. So you're really kind of giving folks a kind of a sneak peek of what's to come with this content.
Definitely, yes.
So, well, perfect. Well, kind of moving on to our next feature, I'm going to kick things over back to my friend Dan Myers, who is going to talk about the Cyber Aces content that Palo Alto has available, as well as the cybersecurity survival guide. So, Dan, I'll kick it to you and let you take it from here.
Thanks, Kevin. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I think I could do this and this will work. Just a refresher here, at the bottom of the NYSERC at home page here is where you'll find the Palo Alto Network free resources as well. Again, various age groups, use that however you want to use it. And we're going to highlight a couple of these. I'll do a couple, and then Tom, my team here, will come back in a couple minutes here and do a little bit more. But I'm going to talk about Cyber Aces and then the Cybersecurity Survival Guide as well. And Cyber Aces is a program developed by Palo Alto Networks that was really born out of our employees wanting something to go back to their homes around the kitchen table and teach their children about cybersecurity awareness / hygiene. And this program developed greatly from there. And if you go to the website paloaltonetworks.com/cyberaces, all one word, or you can go to NYSERC's at home page and then click on the link there. It'll take you to this page here where it explains that Cyber Aces are really 16 individual activities across 4 different age bands. You'll see in the table down here, starting at age 5 all the way up through 15. And each age band has 4 different activities in each of the categories of responsible connectivity, privacy, communication, and digital citizenship. They are designed to be facilitated by anybody. You do not need to have any background in cybersecurity. I'll show you what one of the PDFs looks like here in a moment, but there's a facilitator's guide, very self-explanatory. And it is great for not only parents who are educating their students at home during this time or any time, but also cub leaders, teachers, if you want to incorporate into your programs. Again, freely available. It's a zip file that has all 16 activities, and then you can pull out which one are ones that you want to use depending upon your situation. So you will have to fill out a little form here. This lets us know how many people are using it. That's it. There's no marketing to you or anything. It's more just counting and where people are coming from that are accessing these activities here. One last note too is we have a strong partnership with NYSERC, if it's not evident already, that our friends at NYSERC partnered with us, and they developed this content with our guidance and input. So again, it shows you the strength of the partnership of the 2 companies here. This next thing I'm going to show real briefly is what one of the PDFs files looks like, how it's broken down of just one of those 16 activities. This one here is communication for the ages of 11 through 13. And again, you can go to the matrix and take a look at all the different activities that are available broken down by age group. This is just one. So it starts off with a little overview. Each module will have introduction, vocabulary list, activity instructions, again, for any facilitator to walk through, some tips on how to present and to teach, and then some extension activities if you want to go beyond just the standard activities that are in each one of these Cyber Aces activities. Instructional guide for the facilitator, short, sweet, very easy to consume, learn, and you'll see the materials list after that, what materials you would need to go ahead and prepare for this particular activity. All the activities are non-digital based activities by design. These could be used worldwide, so you don't have to have a mobile phone. They're all, a lot of them, paper-based activities, very well done, I might add. And so as we scroll on down here, activity, fake, fact or fake. So this is one activity. It goes through and talks about what the activity is about. As a facilitator, how to present and teach the activity. There are 3 activities in general for each one of these age bands. And you just scroll on down, there's activity number 3. And you get to, I'm sorry, here's activity number 2. Where they have the handouts. There's activity number 3, where you could print it out and they go ahead and put in this case here, your name and names of family you live with. It talks about what information that you're giving away on the internet that you don't even stop to think about. And that's the facilitator's job, is to get students to think about, or your children to think about, all the information that they're giving up on the internet. So very well laid out, simple to use, can be facilitated by anybody with a cybersecurity background or not. The second thing I want to do a quick update on is it's also on the NYSERC at Home website, is the Cybersecurity Survival Guide. And I'm assuming, since this is being recorded, I'm holding up on my camera here. This is a 250-page hard copy of the book, but this is freely available to anybody worldwide. The download of the PDF by going to paloaltonetworks.com/academy. And scroll all the way down to the bottom, and it has Cybersecurity Survival Guide here. You can download it, or again, just click on the link that is in the NYSERC at Home webpage under Palo Alto Networks resources. But it is a great book for getting students that know nothing about cybersecurity education. So Module 1 is a good introduction. Module 2 starts to get technical, an introduction to networking. In Module 3, introduction to network security for more technical-minded students. So those are just 2 of the free resources that are available that I covered, and Tom will, again, in a couple minutes, he'll cover a couple more.
Fantastic. Awesome, Dan. Well, thank you for that. These are great resources. And, monitoring the chat here, you don't forget, if you have any questions, or, raise your hand if you want to ask a question, feel free to jump in. But if there's no other, questions, we're going to go into the number 3 activity. So I am going to kick it over to my other friends, Dr. Chuck Gardner and Tommy Gover, and they're going to talk about some of the encryption and cipher activities that we have available. So Chuck, I'm going to kick it over to you.
All right. Good afternoon, and I'm going to share my screen here to this desktop and share it. Maximize. All right, so Tommy and I are going to talk about the Pringles Can Enigma activity and some of the other cipher and cipher disk stuff. But I'm going to start with the Pringles Can Enigma. So what we've got here is an activity that allows us to build a model of a World War II Enigma out of a Pringles can, and this will fit either a snack size or a full-size can of Pringles. And what it consists of is a PDF. It's a single document that requires a printout. And what I'll encourage you to take note of is you have to print this to full size, not scale to fit. This has been designed so that it will print consistently on any printer, provided you send it out full size. So send this to a printer full size, and then you just cut the strips out and you tape it to a can of Pringles. Don't tape it to the can. You want it to be able to float and rotate, but you can see here that there's a seam between A and Z. You tape the paper, and there's instructions. It's all contained in this document that we link to. We even talk about some of the history, what the Enigma was, and how it worked, and how it relates to this project that we've got here. And the cool thing about it is you build your Pringles, excuse me, and we've got some practice puzzles for you. So let me unshare real quick, and hopefully, excuse me, you'll be able to see my screen. I promise it's not the virus. So I've got two sizes, full-size Pringles can and a snack size. On the full size, you're going to use all the strips of the PDF. I promise, I'm okay. And then you have to tape them so that they can turn on the can. If you want to build a snack size, it's just a single strip. I'm going to let Tommy talk a minute, and then I'm going to come back and talk about the encryption and decryption.
Yeah, make sure you have your antivirus on when we're talking to Chuck here. So one of the cool activities you can do with the Pringles can, obviously, is you can decode some of those some of the different examples that we've given you on there. The ones on the website are for the full-size Pringles can. Now, if you go to the store, you can also buy like a multi-pack of little snack-size cans like Chuck was holding up earlier. And we have another document that has that for just the single rotor. When we come back to the Pringles can, you'll see why it matters whether your challenges are written for the single rotor or for the 3-rotor, the full size. Starting it off,
and Angela really wants a great reason to buy Pringles. That's what she's just, it's perfect, right?
It's for learning. It's for education purposes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of leading into some of the encryption. Probably the easiest form of encryption to start off with, and especially for littles, is to do what's called the Caesar Cipher. And we have an activity that is also posted on the NICERC at home. And what it is, it looks kind of like this. I'm going to hold this up to the camera. Can you make that out there?
That's perfect.
These are 2 circles of paper. I just printed them off on a black and white printer, and then you get to practice writing your alphabet all the way around. It's a challenge to write the alphabet without singing it. So whenever you write the full alphabet around here, and you've got 2 different circles on here, and they rotate around in this pattern. Now, what you do is, with a Caesar cipher, is if I have these 2 aligned, A to A, on here, what I can do is I can shift this over just by 1, and now we've got a shift cipher. This one's sometimes known as the Caesar cipher, and it has a certain amount of shift there to it. But now I can go through and write out a secret message. So if I have the word cat on here, then I might come around here now to find the letter C on here, and you'll see that maps down here to the letter B. So I'd write down B, it's my first one. And then the letter A maps to the letter Z, so I have B and Z. And then finally, I come over here to the letter T, and I have S, and I write that one down. So that would be the encrypted form of that. Now what I can do is I can take that, what was it, BSZ, or BZS, and then I can decode that on this wheel as long as I have the right number of shifts that are on here. And I can shift this any number of places. So this is a great introduction. We have the printout for this. This is a PDF. You just print it out, grab some scissors, and you don't even have to mount it on a piece of cardboard. I did not have any brads handy, so I just used a little screw holding that to that piece of cardboard just to make it easy. If you have a couple of paper plates, you can just do this by hand. Even if you don't have a printer, you can do this on a couple of paper plates and just stack them up and have them rotate around one another. So a lot of stuff you can do with this. You can start off with the letter, and then you don't keep shifting this inner wheel on here. You just have the letters lined up and go through and decode it. If anybody's seen The Christmas Story, drink your Ovaltine or drink more Ovaltine, the little secret message that he decoded on there, that was done with a shift cipher like this. Now this is the easy form. What you can do also is after each letter, you can shift the inner wheel just by 1 each time, and you'll get a different form of a shift cipher. That's a little bit more advanced. We don't have that one written up, but you can certainly play with this and find different ways to do it. Now with that more advanced form, that then leads you back into the Pringles Can Enigma that Chuck was showing us. Chuck, are you recovered?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay.
So let me just take a couple minutes to finish that, and then we'll turn it on to the next one. So the puzzles that we have on the NYSERC at homepage, nyserc.org/enigma, are all designed for 3-rotor enigmas. And the way I know that is because this column is what we call the rotor settings. So for puzzle number 1, my encrypted message reads IVWYQDV. Rotor settings are AAAAA. I've got to take it off of share so I show you what that means. When we talk about rotor settings, we're talking about the fact that I can read across AAAAA. So the rotor settings are always read across, and I think one's off a little bit. There we go. So my rotor setting is now AAAAA, and if I wanted to decrypt the letter I, which was the first letter in that message, now I find the I, and I begin to follow the paths. So here's I follow the path up, and then I follow to the reflector and all the way back, and I should reveal a D. After I decrypt that first letter, I shift my rightmost rotor up one place, and it becomes AAABA. After I decrypt my next letter, I shift my rightmost rotor up one place, it becomes AAACA, and so on and so on. If I have a message that has a different rotor setting, for example, I have message number 3 down here has a rotor setting of cyber. That means before I start, I have to set my rotors to CY. I'll show you what this looks like. B, CY, B, E, R. And
just to make sure, Chuck, whenever you showed that up here on the screen, so we can see CYBER is across there. Whenever whenever you give it those new starting positions, you can you'll notice that the lines then give a new path going across the screen there. So that's the purpose of having those different rotor settings. Is it gives you a completely new jumbled way to encode or decode a message on there.
So now if we had to decrypt a C, it would follow a completely different path, or an I, it would follow a completely different path, and it wouldn't decrypt to the same letter. So that's a 3-rotor enigma. Again, with the snack size, you can build a 1-rotor enigma. And what's cool about this, to increase the cryptography, we've numbered the rotors, 1, 2, and 3. You can see here, I've got them from left to right, 1, 2, 3. You can change the rotors. So here's a snack size with rotor number 2 instead of rotor number 1. Again, the messages will decrypt and encrypt differently based on what rotor you're using and the order of the rotors. And that's our Pringles Can Enigma.
So lots of introduction there on the cryptography, and you can start with the shift cipher, go to the Pringles, and gets a whole lot more involved with it. But it's a great introduction to cryptography for different ages.
Yeah, and I was actually reading one of the comments in the chat was that this really covers all different grade levels, right? You've got folks who are using this that were high school, middle school, even the elementary school students getting into either it's the Caesar shift or the shift cipher, the Caesar cipher, or the Pringle Can Enigma. So a lot of great activities there, got great resources and so forth. So all right, let's kick it over to back over to Palo Alto. Tom Trevethan who's the director of curriculum for Palo Alto Networks Cybersecurity Academy, is going to talk about the Cybersecurity Foundations course. So Tom, I'll kick it over to you.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. Yeah, so I'm going to go through this Cybersecurity Foundations course that you'll find at the 3rd link down in the Palo Alto offerings. So this is really based on cooperation through NYSERC and Munami, who's our learning management system solutions provider. We're making this course freely available to all learners all the way through April, I think, and then maybe even beyond that. This course is really designed with modular, so it has 7 modules, and students will learn fundamentals of cybersecurity. They'll also be able to seek and gain cybersecurity knowledge, like, for example, different acronyms and definitions of cyber. We'll take them through cyber defense strategies. We'll explore different careers in cyber. But in order to get through this course, you have to click on one of these links here. So this activity link will take you to a PDF which really explains the purpose of the course in general, and then how you would get started. The first thing you would have to do is create an account on our Moodle LMS, which is driven by Munami. Once you do that and you gain access to the LMS, you'll use this link right here with the self-enroll password to enroll in the course. So I'll give you an example of what that looks like here. So this is the front end of the course. And we also take you through the cyber attack lifecycle. But some of the front matter includes a course syllabus, there's an overview, there's actually a video in there on cybersecurity and you know, why cybersecurity matters, why am I taking this course, etc. And there are also other links, like, for example, to the hacker news, so you know, students can learn about the latest news associated with current and relevant hacks that are taking place. And if you scroll down here in the front of the course, I know Dan earlier mentioned the cybersecurity survival guide. That's also here included as a downloadable link. So you can pick that up either here or from the link on the NICERC site. And the other thing that's cool about this course is once the student goes through each of the module assessments, they'll be able to, a certificate of completion will automatically be generated, and it's signed by our CEO and chairman, Nikesh Arora from Palo Alto Networks. They'll have a unique authorization number with that, a certificate, and it can also be validated through this URL. So like if, for example, a teacher wanted to validate whether or not the student completed the course, they can do that in this manner, which is pretty cool. And the other thing is, you know, we designed the course so that it's fun. So it's not really difficult. You can finish the course in anywhere between, you know, 5 hours and 15 hours. Once the student completes all the assessments, the quizzes for each module, then the certificate will become available for them to print out. The quizzes aren't difficult. They're anywhere between 5 and 10 questions, multiple choice, and the student needs to obtain an 80% or higher to successfully complete the assessment. The good news is they can take the quiz as many times as they want until they achieve that. So the whole idea here is just to get them, you know, excited about cyber. They want to learn about different, you know, options available in the cybersecurity industry. And these are the modules, how they're broken out. I'll just give you an example of what one of the modules looks like. So in each module, you have, obviously you have reading material. So this particular readings are based on module 1 of the survival guide. So for example, I can pull up the reading. It's just a snippet of PDF. In this case, major threat actors, what attacker profiles and motivations are. It's a very easy read. From there, you can go into what we have built here is e-learning component, which is nothing more than taking the reading and bringing it to life. So we all know that students don't really like to read, even though we try to have them focus on reading and learning reading. But if they don't like to read, they can go into the e-learning component, which is a voiceover of the material that you'll see in the cybersecurity survival guide.
Or bring your own app.
It's pretty cool.
Both features are defined in management.
The other thing we have inside the modules is just various activities like discussion threads and then assessments. So that's it in a nutshell. Like I said, you can go through this course, you know, from start to finish in anywhere from 5 to 15 hours, depending on your reading and comprehensive capability. But it's a nice way to spend the afternoon if you want to learn all things cyber.
Perfect, Tom. That's awesome, and we appreciate you sharing these resources with folks who are stuck at home. And so, just to reiterate, everything that you see, everything that we're talking about, can be found on the NYSERC website. So nyserc.org, NICERC.org, and you click on those at-home resources. Dan Myers and Claire have both already posted a link in the chat as well. But the repository being the at-home page, that's really kind of the great resource that you can see everything. And then if you click that little plus sign, that will then take you to each individual page. And so last but absolutely not least, my friend Heather Howell is going to showcase some things around computational thinking. And my personal favorite, about what she's about to talk about was that I got in trouble so much in class for doing the very thing that she is going to be talking about. So that is building a paper airplane. So Heather, you wanna take it over and talk about computational thinking?
Absolutely. So this computational thinking lesson comes from middle school, so I'm going to share. But like the others, it's very adaptable and can be brought down to an elementary level if you have young elementary age learners in your home with you now, or can be leveled up if you have high schoolers at home with you like I have right now. So what I'm going to do is walk you through the computational thinking lesson on paper airplanes. So what computational thinking is just a problem-solving process, and it can be applied to any subject area. Science, engineering, math, even English language arts. And the activities to teach computational thinking can be both plugged and unplugged activities. So in this particular module that we're highlighting for NYSERC at Home, this is an unplugged activity with something that kids love to do, like Kevin said, is making paper airplanes. And so what the students will be doing, or what your learners will be doing, is working through the 4 pillars of computational thinking as they're designing a paper airplane that can fly far and be mass produced. So what the students or your learners at home will be doing is first they're going to break down the problem, which is decomposition. So they break down the steps of folding a paper airplane so that they can provide instructions that someone else can follow, whether that's you as the parent at home or a sibling that's at home as well. So they're writing instructions so detailed that another person can follow them. Next, we look at pattern recognition. So while they're folding the prototype paper airplane, they will look for patterns and repeated folds in the design. So what patterns emerge as you're building this paper airplane? Abstraction is next. So students will filter out what is not necessary, what steps are not needed, to make very clear instructions, and they'll use repeats in their instructions wherever they can. And finally, the most difficult part of the process is the algorithm design. This is where students will organize and write out the steps to correctly build a paper airplane so that someone else can come behind them and duplicate the prototype and get the same results. So through this, the students are using not just computational thinking, but also the engineering design process. So first we have them identify the problem. So we can do a little bit of research and learning about mass production during World War II. And this could be a nice tie to current events in how some factories are having to transition to produce things that they normally wouldn't be producing. So they can learn more about in World War II, how companies like Ford Motor Company suddenly switched their platform and started mass producing airplanes. Why do we need to do that? And why might factories today need to switch operations to mass produce? The most difficult part, besides writing the algorithm that we're going to throw at our learners, is we're going to give them criteria and constraints for this project. So the constraints for the project is that they can only use one sheet of copy paper, just a regular 8.5 by 11 sheet of copy paper. But what they cannot do to it is they cannot cut it to reduce its size. They cannot cut it to add flaps. They cannot add tape, staples, or paper clips to secure the folds. So by giving them those constraints, it limits what they can do so that they can't just go to Google and find a beautiful paper airplane that someone else has already made. This step makes them have to think a little bit harder to make their paper airplane. The criteria is that we want it to be something that can be mass produced and that can fly a long distance. Students can do research and find out more about mass productions of airplanes during World War II, principles of flight, and even the history of paper airplanes, which I was surprised by how much there was on Google and online that you can find out about paper airplanes and the history of that. So the students will then brainstorm some possible solutions and test those solutions and choose which solution of their prototypes fits the criteria and constraints of this project. They can even do a decision matrix to help them make a decision on which paper airplane model to go with. Can it fly far? Can it be mass produced? Does it meet all the criteria and constraints of the project? And does it have a consistent performance? So moving on, the students will test and evaluate several prototypes. So I apologize for the paper airplanes that are going to be all over your house or yard. So they get to fly it, test it, and then finally they're going to write out their algorithm step by step, so detailed so that someone else in your household can follow those steps and get the exact same results, meaning they throw the paper airplane and get near identical results as to how far it can fly. You can give feedback to your learner at home of how they might be able to improve their instructions, and then they will come up with a final design. So the way that they represent that, they can do it in several ways. They can either write it out, or some students like taking pictures of their step-by-step method, or even creating a video. And it would be fun to share with a larger group outside of your home once you have that prototype nailed down. So that is computational thinking using a piece of copy paper or several, and working through the engineering design process.
Nice, that's awesome, Heather. Well, that brings a whole nother layer of fun, and yes, we do apologize for all of the paper airplanes that are going to be flying around the house. You know, golly, so those are the different activities. Those are the different projects that we have. So at this time, you know, I want to really turn it over to the participants to see if you guys, if there are any questions, or you know, what I'm going to do is, you know, if you want to raise your hand, we can go ahead and let you, you know, talk, or if you want to type it into the chat box, we'll get to that. But just a quick reminder, you know, to get a hold of these activities, to get a hold of these resources, go to the NYSERC website, nyserc.org. That's NICERC.org. You'll see the big banner there. One of the questions was that, you know, should we direct folks to the activities or to the actual page? And what I recommend is actually doing the page. And, you know, Jackie asked, you know, are we okay to share with others in our district? Absolutely. Blast this out to anybody and everybody you know, because we want you to go to that NYSERC page, because we're constantly adding different projects, different activities together. And this is where, you know, if Palo Alto has any updates, this is kind of where they'll drop their information, where we'll drop our information. We'll continue to add to it. So consider this to be the big piece. And so Angela had a great question. Actually, she read my mind as to where we're going next. What is the capture the flag activity that I've seen NYSERC posting about? So Chuck, you wanna take that question? I think you're on mute, Chuck.
Sorry, Zoom is hard. Yeah, so I just happen to have it teed up too. So we've got this capture the flag link. We're posting it all over Facebook. What's happening is we're running this week-long capture the flag. It's right now hosted at cyber.ctfd.io, and you can get that link through the NYSERC at home. But what we've got is a week-long set of challenges that we're encouraging anyone, students, parents, teachers, anyone from across the country, come on and take a look. Right now, we just started yesterday. Looks like we've already got 38 folks who have correctly answered at least one question. We had 62 questions last week. This week, we've probably got about 30 questions posted. We're going to release a couple every day. And then this is going to close on Friday. And then over the weekend, we'll sanitize, pardon the pun, and then kick it off again on Monday morning for another week. We'll take all the challenges down and then put a couple up each day, and we'll encourage everyone to give this a try. So if you're looking for something that's a little more technical for high schoolers or middle schoolers, there's some code challenges, some cybersecurity stuff going on here. We've got some career workforce puzzles that need solving. So we've got a lot of opportunities here to engage all age groups, even some elementary schoolers, as Laura Salvell attributed to last week. We've got a lot of content here, and come all. Again, just like everything else that we offer, this is free, and it's all web-based and really great engaging stuff.
And I wanted to jump in here too, Chuck, and to kind of dispel any misunderstandings that folks might have. If you have not done a capture the flag challenge before this, there's no actual flag involved with this. It's a little hidden keyword that you go in and you find the keyword here. If you can see Chuck's screen pulling up on here, you want to explain what you're looking at, Chuck?
Sure. So this is one of our puzzles. This is no real cyber experience required. It's just a simple riddle, and it says, I'm at the beginning of everything and the end of time and space. What am I? It's a 15-pointer, so I don't want to give it away, but you would simply...
Oh, I still wanted to answer it.
So let's say, maybe we think it's a period, right? It's at the end of, things, period. So I enter the answer, it's incorrect. I keep guessing until I get it right. And then this is, we're just full of all sorts of different puzzles. Here's some of our computer science. This is straight from NYSERC at home. So if you built an Enigma, here's this is a snack size. Here's my rotor settings, right? CIC, and then simply encrypt the word zinc, and then you'll enter that down here, and you'll get your points. So again, there's no flag. You're trying to find the answer to all of these questions. It's not like trivia with a twist. So please give it a try. We've got some stuff for some career connections that links to our content, that links to the National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education. Come on board and give it a try.
So Chuck, there's a question on. Oh, yep. Go ahead, Claire. Sorry, you're going there.
So the question is this similar to Cyber Patriot, and how many weeks will the capture the flag run?
Sure. So we're going to run it as long as we're locked down. We're going to try and create new content every week, but it's obviously with 60, 70 questions, it's hard to create completely new content. So we'll ask that you participate and then come back in a couple weeks and try it again. But we're going to run it a week-long CTF as long as we're locked down, at least till the end of the school year, and then maybe a couple of times over the summer. It's not similar to Cyber Patriot in that we're not going into virtual systems and breaking or fixing or hacking things. We're giving you these one-off challenges. There might be a download file that you've got to sort through and sift through to find the answer. But it's not like a hacking challenge. It's just these puzzles have been left. Download it and see what you can figure out. And yeah, so if I can, I see Jackie's question just got posted.
Yeah, that's where I was going next.
So we have a rotating opportunity for Capture the Flag events. We're going to cover high school content and elementary content and middle school content. And you can find that complete schedule on the CTF page through the NYSERC at home link. And in fact, tomorrow kicks off the high school Capture the Flag, and that'll be up for the month of April. And then we'll probably, like this weekly event, we'll wipe it every week and let folks start again. So there's a high school specific Capture the Flag starting tomorrow. That'll run for April, and then at the end of April we'll wipe and we'll start with the next grade level. So check out our CTF link, and all the information you'll want is right there.
Yeah, Diana, you had your hand raised. Did you have a question? And I just should have unmuted you, so you should have the floor.
Wonderful, thank you. I want to thank all of the presenters today for this wonderful information. And I do have one question for Thomas Trevathan. Thomas, I was just wondering, as I mentioned in the chat, that I did not complete the certification when I met you out in, I believe was that Denver? I don't remember where we were.
Yeah.
But anyways, at the conference, is there any chance to retry that? I know that you gave that to us teachers for I think a month for free. Is there any?
No, you still have access to it. So as long as you need to take it, just reach out to me when you finish it. That's all.
Oh, I apologize. I thought I didn't have access to it anymore. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
You bet, Diana. Thank you. All right. Any other questions? We're coming up on the top of the hour. Let's see, there's one more. Any suggestions on how to make it a team event? So Chuck, Tommy, you want to touch on that?
Yeah, so to have, you're talking about having multiple people play under the same name or multiple people compete at the same time. I think either are possible. At this point, since we're socially distancing, we've kind of been encouraging folks to create their own account and see how far they can get. If you want to have a couple of your students, participate during the same week. For example, last week we had over 40 students participate. Oh, my coworker just woke up. We had over 40 students participate from Loudoun County, Virginia alone. We had another 15 from Las Vegas, and we had a handful from North Dakota. So encourage them to sign up for the same week. And then as a participant, you can see the scoreboard and you can see where they're all placing. So definitely encourage them to participate.
Yeah, the other question came in here. Could they use Google Meet, something like that? Teams, Skype, Discord. Yeah, you could certainly work together on a team situation like that and say, okay, I'm going to go after this puzzle. Hey, I found the answer to this one. I'm going to move on to this one. You can do that, but like Chuck said, if we're all doing it on our own, there's no added cost. There's no real problem. You could probably still work independently with Google Meet or something along those lines. But whatever works for your team.
And yes, teachers can participate also. Teachers, parents, and students. Come on down.
Definitely. Well, perfect. Well, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Our contact information is on the NYSERC page. What I'll also do is I'll send a follow-up email to everyone who's attended. That way they can get a link to this webinar that we've recorded. But I'll also include everybody's email addresses. So if you wanted to get more information from Dan or Tom or Heather, Lori, Tommy, Chuck, you'll be able to do that. And I'll have that ready for you guys this afternoon. So again, want to thank the panelists. I appreciate everybody taking the time out of their day to do this. I think this was very informative, and we will be back very soon with more opportunities like this. Be sure to go and like us on social media, Facebook, Twitter. Anytime we get something from Palo Alto, we're tweeting about it. Our Facebook and Twitter are the ways to stay in the loop and up to date on all of the resources that we're providing. So I hope everyone stays well, stays healthy. You know, we're going to get through this together. And if there's anything that we can do to help you, whether you're teachers, your parents, please, please, please do not hesitate to reach out. So thank you all. Have a great one, and we'll be in touch.